Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Concrete Slab House. Right now, today we're gonna start tackling the project in our master bedroom. So we have these vaulted ceilings that are pitched right towards the middle of the room in our advantage. So what we wanna do is give some character. We wanna build some faux beams to really give it a grander look. So we're gonna take this blank canvas and turn it into that. Took us 5 full days to complete, a lot of courage and sweat. So without wasting any more time, let me show you how I did it and let's get into the video. Let's go. You know, I've been debating about getting this big ladder for a long time because they're like spending like 300 bucks. But I'm glad I finally pulled the trigger and have it to tackle projects like this. And I think it basically paid for itself. So, hey sis, big ladder, I know. I'm as excited as you are. We need to find all the studs and all the trusses that are coming across. So I got my stud finder and some tape. I'm gonna find exactly which each one is, put marking, put my piece of tape and start working my way out. So the last part of a measurement that we need is to spread out evenly how many beams are coming. So I want them to be 4 on each side when it's on top. So this is about 205 inches. I'm gonna divide it by 3, meaning 3 compartments. So it's gonna be roughly around 68 inches. I'm putting my piece of tape on both sides so we can put a laser level across and make sure everything's symmetrical. So the way these beams are gonna be set up is we're gonna have a plate that first gets attached to the drywall into all the trusses and the studs. This is a 2x6 piece that we're gonna put it along the sides and down the middle. And then this is gonna be the faux beam that we're gonna have to fabricate. The measurement is gonna be so perfect that this basically cups this on the sides, and then we could secure it with screws or nails or whatever along the side. I bought 12 pieces of 2x6, they're 8 foot long. You could go 10 footers. All right, folks, we got our 3-inch screws, we have our impact drill, and we have our 2x6s. Let's start throwing up the corners and try to split the difference for the middle. Let's go. To make sure the center beams are gonna be straight and not tilted to the side, by connecting the 2 joints together, we already know that this is gonna be a straight line. So we need those 2 points, laser level for the win. This is gonna be a strong deltoid workout. Is there a better sound than hearing a screw going into a stud? We're gonna put the middle support bracket in. Now it's gonna be a little tricky because we're gonna do a little modification. That electrical box right there that's hanging the ceiling fan, we're gonna have to create a housing for it, put it down the middle of this crease, and then have enough room for it to drop down. So I'll get a cut for this piece and that piece secured in the middle of the trusses, and then we'll build out our box. So for the middle here, because you're gonna have this gap right here, right? And these screws will not be long enough to go straight down the middle. Really helpful for me is to just put these at an angle into these trusses that are running this way. So I'm putting a 145 here, 145 there, and it's nice and strong. We're whooping out the big guns. 5-inch lag bolts, gonna go down the middle. We're not messing around, folks. So I need to create a faux box, or a box to basically suspend the fan right down the middle. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick up this ceiling fan mounting box kit. And what's nice is, I keep dropping everything. Everything's adjustable. That's the first cool thing. The screws go into the side of the studs, and then this gets secured in here, and now you can mount your ceiling fan. Here's what we have to consider. The box is gonna be there, right? The faux beam, it's gonna be 5.5 inches or 1x6 deep. We can't have this thing willy-nilly just sitting inside, exposing the electrical box to the wood. We have to protect it from electrocuting and starting a fire. So this has to sit flush with the basically last part of the beam. How do we compensate that? We've created a couple of blockings to drop the basically stud part itself down, and then we'll secure it to there, compensating for that beam thickness. This is not working. The wood's splitting, so I'm gonna use a 2x6. I just don't want my fan to fall on me. All right, now that the base plates are all secured into the trusses and the studs, we're gonna start creating our beams. It's just gonna be a 3-sided butt joint glue up. We're just gonna put some glue like that, have it brad nailed along the sides, let it dry, and then once it's done, we should be able to lift this thing up and position it perfectly in the base plates and then secure it from the sides, theoretically. one mistake, well, not a mistake, it's more of a choice. Those are 8-footer boards, sorry, 10-footer boards. They're supposed to be 12 foot. And I had some scrap over stuff left over. I'm gonna just attach these. They don't have to be completely connected as long as there's multiple anchor points. Put those up. I'll start dropping my electrical for the new fan box, and then we'll see what we can do about making some beams. Oh. Anybody want a fan? So because the existing fan is slanted and it's not down the middle and it's gonna appear at the box, I'm going to piggy off of those wires in the electrical box, cover it up, and then swing it down the middle of that crease and then put it into the metal electrical box, and then everything will be concealed and housed in the faux beams. Okay, I guess I'm doing a good job getting Irina's new rug dirty here. I have a solution for this. This is a perfect opportunity to talk about sponsors of today's video. Hoover. Right out of the box, the Hoover High Performance Upright Swivel Vac was ready for work. No assembling required whatsoever. I plugged it in, turned on the power, and it was ready to rock and roll. I had it set to a low type of kind of carpet, and it had no issues maneuvering around. It had no issues picking any of the fine debris and the dirt that I kind of created from all these beams. The swivel was fantastic. It created for these natural motions that the vacuum wanted to go. There was no effort that I had to put in to try to maneuver it in a way that I wasn't ready to go or didn't want to go. I could actually feel the bristles and the vacuum pressure through the hand grip, knowing that though this carpet is low, it was doing a very effective and efficient job of picking up any dirt and debris and picking up the fibers. It maneuvered behind and to the side of all the table legs easily and effortlessly, and the transition from rug or carpet onto hardwood floors was flawless. There's no issues at all. I didn't see any dirt and debris scattering from it just because they had their scatter guard technology, which prevented any of those fine dirt and debris to scatter all across your hardwood floors like most of the vacuums I've had before. One other thing that I really noticed about the Hoover Swivel Vac was the edge-to-edge suction. There was no specific part of the vacuum that was more efficient than the other. It felt like the suction pressure was universal completely across the entire vacuum surface. One of my favorite parts about this vacuum, besides the swivel, is the easy to empty dirt cup. All I did is bring it up to the trash can, pull the lever, and it dumped all the dirt and debris. I didn't have to mess with anything. I didn't have to tinker with anything. It was clean for me to do. The Hoover High Performance Swivel Vac is backed by a 5-year limited warranty. That makes me really comfortable knowing that I got a solid purchase, and it includes a max life filter, which maximizes the pickup of pet hair and debris in tight corners and hard to reach places. Be sure to check out the link in the description to learn more about the Hoover High Performance Upright Swivel Vac, and a big thank you to Hoover for sponsoring this video. Now, everything nice and clean, let's get back into this video. Let's go. So to install the first part is the middle part of the beam. To make the easiest seam is I'm gonna make a seam right down the middle of this junction box. That way it'll be the most natural. So I'm gonna measure my distance, create the circle cut, and then we'll start installing it. Here's a little pro tip. The junction box is 4 inches wide, and guess what? My tape just so happens to be right now, the amount there is 4 inches. I'm splitting it down the middle, 2 inches on this side, 2 inches on this side. Hopefully both of these two puzzle pieces will come together and consume the housing. Let's see how we do. The issue that I'm having here is, even though this is 5.5 inches width on the inside and it's 5.5 on the 2x6s, by the time you glue them up, the tops or one of the sides closes in. So the bottom is 5.5 and the other side is 5 1/8. I'm going to use a little spacer block to put it in a couple of spots, and that way it won't interfere with the base plates, but it'll also stretch this out to actually work. So the issue that we're having is that the beam wouldn't sit over this part that was housing or supporting the fan. So I had to bring it down a notch. I'm going to throw these on, and then those beams should fit. Oh, blood, sweat, and tears, man. I took the liberty and saved us some time, and I mass produced a bunch of these beams so they're all ready for us to go. Now here's the only issue that we're gonna be running into here is figuring out the angle on this side of the beam and the angle on this side of the beam. What I could use is a T-bevel square, and the way it just works is you can just put it up to 2 angles, lock it in place, and then we could trace that on our beam and make the cut with a circular saw. But I believe in using jigs, so let's make us a little jig from scrap piece of beam. That way we can just replicate it everywhere we go. Well, see, we always make mistakes, and I'm just glad we did it with a scrap piece. I got the right measurement, I just put it on the wrong side. So we're gonna give it another go, see how she turns out. We're getting there. How perfect is that? We got our first angle, we gotta do the next one, and this will be our handy dandy speed guide. Boom, boy. Here's the last most important part. The measurement that you're taking, the span, you have to know if you're taking the inside or the outside measurement. That will screw up, and I screwed up royally many times. First beam is up, I'm already seeing a problem. You guys can see this gap right here, right? Well, that's because this is an angle, therefore this elongates it. So if you're gonna do this yourself, make sure this beam, center beam, is about maybe 1.5, 2 inches, be safe, 2 inches longer or deeper. That way it can consolidate or close it off. Heads up to you guys. First try. Okay, I think we got somewhere. The corners are just gonna be a 2-sided beam. I've already cut this one to match the angle. Each one has their own independent angles, so be cautious of that. And I'm gonna secure it with screws into that 2x6 that's already anchored in the trusses. We're gonna have to do something a little bit different. I'm gonna pop this off. I'm gonna put a 1x2 just on the other side of this piece of wood. That way I can also secure it this way. All right, folks, today is staining day, but before we do that, we have to sand it. I hope you like my little clever concoction here, strapping the vacuum to the top of the thing so the hose can actually reach it. Using 120 grit sandpaper, giving a light, good sand, especially getting all the print off of it, all the stamps that I put on it. And then I'm also masking it off to make it easy for me to have a quick stain when we're doing it. So after brainstorming how to conceal these holes or gaps from the beams, again, if you are watching this video and you're gonna do it, save yourself the hassle, make the center beam longer by at least 2-3 inches. So now in my situation, I'm not gonna redo this for an extra $500. Instead, I'm just gonna find a solution. So I've come up with these kind of caps, if you will, that are beveled on the sides, and I'm gonna put them down the middle, and I think it'll be enough of a decorative piece for it not to catch the eye. Again, save yourself the hassle, learn from my mistake. All right, update looks like absolute horse crap. I don't like it. It looks like I'm trying to patch something which I clearly am. I'm embarrassed by it. Again, I'm not gonna redo it. So here's my solution. I made another mitered cap that is gonna kind of give this like decorative kind of look. I do think this is gonna be the best possible solution to give a more of an intricate design. Can't wait to see all the comments, yeah? Yeah, let's do it. All right, folks, it's been a long way coming. Let's do some stain. We're using weathered oak. It's a semi-transparent by Minwax. All-time favorite of Irina's. It keeps it from going amberish, but it definitely has some grayish tones, which are money. We'll start doing a couple of coats and just keep trucking along. Stain is applying really well, and what's really nice is that I didn't have to really aggressively sand that it's a flawless look, because these are supposed to be representative of beams, right? So they have their own character and distressing. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of comments about, oh, you should have done miter joints so it looks like seamless beams. I could, and I've done shelves like that before. I didn't want to tinker with this. I wanted it to be, you can't even notice them because they're so high. So I'm just saving time and maybe making a little bit more DIY approach. Let me finish staining the rest of the other half, and then I'll show you what this big reveal what the fan looks like. See you in a minute. All right, let's talk about the overall budget for this project. The 2x6 base plates were $200. The 1x6 boards that ended up being the faux beams themselves were roughly around $400. Screws were $20 and stain was another $10. All in all, making this project finish for $630. Hey, thanks so much for sticking around watching another one of my videos of this concrete slab house. Right now, if you like home improvement projects or any kind of furniture build projects, make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell so we'll know exactly when these videos come out. Make sure you connect with me on my social media. All the links will be in the description below, as well as my merch section. Snag yourself a Curtain Sweat t-shirt, and my Patreon, where we release hour-long footage, director's uncut stuff. There's so much information that does not make it to the 18-minute videos. Help support this channel, and remember, we're not trained professionals, we're just not afraid to try and fail. Curtain Sweat, folks. Tune out this time. We'll see you on the next one. See ya. Bye. And the issues that I'm having is I keep missing on some of them, the studs or the trusses. As you can see, this looks like I shot a bunch of bullets at it.